Hey friends, we're glad you tuned in to this episode of Beards and Bitcoins, a crypto podcast for the man's man, and all you beard-loving ladies. In this vast kingdom of nerdy incels, two men stand out as different from the crowd. BitBoy and J-Chains were both voted least nerdy in high school, and most likely to have a better than mediocre podcast. Join them each week as they discuss all the hottest topics in cryptocurrency, as well as the fan favorite segment, Manspreading. So make sure to hit subscribe and turn on those downloads. Here are the dudes, Ben and Justin.
Hey guys, welcome back to Beards and Bitcoins. We are a crypto podcast for the man's man, and yes, the ladies that love us, or you, however you want to think about it.
Love everyone.
I just love everyone. This is a time that everyone in the world needs to learn to love.
For sure.
Just love your neighbor. Anyway, super excited to be joined with my buddy Ben, as always. Got a super fun show packed with exciting news and fun stuff. Ben, what do we got going on today?
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about possibly being able to send Bitcoin Cash via email during news break, which is pretty exciting. And then later on for Manspreading, we are actually going to be talking about the 4th of July. I mean, the most American holiday around, right? We're going to be talking about fireworks, the whole 9 yards. And then today for Token Time and for a special interview today, we're going to be talking Velas Token, and or it's a coin, actually, Velas Coin, VLX. And we actually got the founder, Alex Alexandrov, on the show. You may have heard his name before in crypto. That's because he's also the CEO. He stepped down as the official role is CEO of Coinpayments, but he was the founder of that as well, still very involved in it. One of the biggest companies in our entire space. We got a lot to cover today, so we're going to go ahead and get to it. But before we do, want to tell you about our show sponsor, Monarch. The Beards and Bitcoins Crypto Podcast is brought to you by Monarch Wallet. Rule your own financial kingdom from the palm of your hand.
That is right, Ben. The team at Monarch is working real hard to bring you one app to access all of your crypto services. These guys believe in delivering tech, not hype.
Yeah, that's right. With the universal decentralized Monarch Wallet, you can buy, store, spend, and earn crypto. With Monarch Pay, you can set up recurring crypto payments.
Nice. So if you need more information, make sure you check out monarchwallet.com or monarchtoken.io on the interwebs.
The old interwebs. Let's go ahead and talk news break. We're going to talk about some pretty interesting developments. News break. All right, guys, we got a very interesting story coming to us about Bitcoin Cash and ease of use. Now, Newsbreak is brought to you by bestchange.com. It's a good place to be able to exchange your crypto. We're going to tell you more about that at the end of this segment. So thank you to our sponsor. But Jay, tell them about this story.
Absolutely. So they're saying on Bitcoin.com is going to soon have the ability to send users Bitcoin Cash, BCH, through email. And one of the things that Roger Ver is saying is that this is no longer possible with Bitcoin as we know it, BTC Bitcoin, not Bitcoin Cash. So this is all about sending Bitcoin Cash through email.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if you know this, but Coinbase actually has a patent for sending crypto via email.
Coinbase does?
Yeah, Coinbase does. They have a patent. So they haven't debuted it yet. People are suspecting they may do it later on this year. So what's really interesting about this story to me is that, they go out of their way to say that, this couldn't be done with Bitcoin. But, in the background, we have Coinbase that has a patent that might be able to do it. So we'll just have to see, can you actually send Bitcoin via email? But I think either way, though, I mean, we keep talking about, what's that magic bullet? What's the, what's known as the Netscape moment on the internet, right? Where all of a sudden Netscape browser debuted and then ease of use on the internet became extremely easy for everyone. We've been looking for that in crypto. Maybe sending, crypto via email could be that moment.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to think, when you talk about crypto in the first place, it's, banking the unbanked, right? Well, everyone has an email address. So what they say is on Bitcoin.com, they're not keeping private keys for any of this, right? So everyone's got email. So you've got access to it as long as you have an internet connection. And we know that, even developing countries are starting to have more widespread internet available to the populations and stuff.
5G, son. Killing them birds, but helping them nerds.
That was in South Korea, right? where they did what?
Whatever I don't know. They claim it killed a bunch of birds, but whatever. I don't even know if it's true. It may be. Who knows? I don't know the truth.
That's what I heard. But the good thing about sending the Bitcoin Cash to the email, though, is I believe censorship resistant, right? I mean,
that's right. Email is censorship. It's like the last, censorship resistance channel on the internet.
I mean, obviously, because you're seeing all you folks on the YouTubes, tweets, people are getting
all of it.
censored.
Left and right. Well, before we move on to our interview with Alex Alexandrov, let's talk about bestchange.com.
Absolutely, man. Bestchange.com is a directory of selected, trusted, and reliable exchangers. Their website's going to show you where you can buy, sell, exchange dozens of popular cryptocurrencies, or you can even purchase with a debit or a credit card.
Monitor is easy to use with no special knowledge or skills needed and has an intuitive interface. Exchanging is easy as pie.
Nice. And they've got about 2.4 million users, or over 2.4 million users per month, and reviews that are left by real customers, and they're going to help you choose an exchanger. So visit bestchange.com today for more information.
That's awesome. They have almost as many TikTok followers as I do. Actually, I've been losing followers on TikTok lately. I've hit quite a shadow ban, so I'm about to drop from 2.5 to 2.4. So best change, I'll see you there with 2.4 million. But that really in crypto, that's an astounding number. So thank you to Best Change, the sponsor of Newsbreak segment. So let's move on to token time.
Token time. All right, hey guys, for token time today, we are going to be talking about Velas. The token ticker is VLX. And we'll also have an interview with the founder, Alex Alexandrov, who we're going to talk about a little about Coinpayments and stuff too as well. So Ben, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it's definitely a very interesting interview. He's one of the OGs in crypto. He bought Bitcoin a year before I ever did even. So he bought it in 2011. And he's been involved in the space and mining and all kinds of stuff ever since. But we get fact-checked in the interview. He's not the founder of Coinpayments. He was the 47th user, he says, and then he actually ended up becoming the major shareholder and the CEO. So he was in it from the very beginning, but he technically didn't found it. And now the other two guys that did are his co-shareholders. So it's kind of an interesting story. Velas is a project on my channel that I've really fallen in love with. I think there's a lot of great stuff about it. You're going to hear some of the stuff they do different with AI in this interview. And just shout out to Velas for being a supporter of the podcast and sponsoring the next segment. So let's go ahead and hit the interview. All right, guys, we are joined today by Coinpayments founder and Velas founder, Alex Alexandrov, very important person in the space. How are you doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and kick off with your experience with Coinpayments. We're going to be talking about Velas for sure, but
Sure.
I think, and this is something I've done when I've talked about this project on my channel, is like, for me, it's really hard to kind of talk about Velas without understanding your background, because it's very important to understanding why I think this project is going to be successful. So you just talk to us a little bit about how you got into crypto, the very cliche question, how did you get into crypto? And then,
Sure.
how that evolved into founding Coinpayments.
Sure. Yeah. So I guess going back to 2011, I was kind of doing a bit of a self-trading in Forex, doing MT4 platform bots and things like that, trying to find the edge on how to make money online, that kind of stuff, right? Going through those phases. Reading a lot about what fiat was, what it meant, reading a lot of books like Creatures of Jekyll Island, and like the origins of Federal Reserve, kind of really trying to understand fundamentals of what currency is all about, because I was, trading it, and I was trying to learn not just technical, but fundamental as well, and got really heavy into that stuff. And then all of a sudden, I was looking for VPN. One of the reasons I needed it is I needed a closer connection to one of the trade servers in Malta. And I was like, okay, maybe I can shave off a few, latency points, type of thing, by doing direct connection. Anyway, as I was looking for VPN, one of the sites that I come across said, you are an idiot if you're paying for VPN with a credit card. I was like, okay, well, how else would you, at that time, like, how else do you pay? I'm like, well, that caught my attention for sure. It was a bit of a clickbait, but it totally got my attention. So I'm like, all right, what's going on here? And they're like, you have to pay this new digital currency money called Bitcoin. I'm like, what is this? So then I immediately clicked on and started reading about it. And because I was so, kind of submerged into this whole currency conspiracies, I was like, oh my God, this is the people's alternative currency that we've been waiting for. And it just like clicked right away. I'm like, this is going to be huge, right? And then I remember one of my friends, and Bitcoin was like, $3. So it wasn't like, I didn't catch it sub-dollar like some people, because like people came 6 months before me. I'm super jealous of, and like people come after me jealous of me.
I got it at 12. I got it at 12.
Okay,
so I'm
awesome.
super jealous of the people that
that's
caught
amazing.
it at 6.
That's still amazing, man. And it's funny because like every month in 2011, 2012 was like a difference of like, you came in with $1,000, how many more millions do you have like in 2017, right? So anyway, I remember immediately falling in love with the whole idea, concept. It made sense to me, calling all of my friends literally the next day after I start researching, finding bitcointalk.org and start really diving into this thing and telling them, guys, you have to get into this. This is the future. And then they all thought I was crazy. And it's kind of funny that now they're all kicking themselves. They're like, why if I just gave you $20, right? Like I could have totally spared $20. Why did I do that, right? So whatever. It's one of those stories. But yeah, I got really into it right then. But I made a few mistakes in the early days, and I did the newbie first mistake in crypto. I decided to start mining instead of just buying. Currency. It seems to be, and that it goes like you get into mining, then you try to want to own a Bitcoin ATM, and then only then you realize you should have just bought coins and held them. That seems to be like those three steps that everybody has to make to kind of understand that this is just stop doing nonsense. I mean, there's nothing wrong with mining. People should be mining, but unless you're going fully industrial into it, I don't know. Like it's if your goal is to have an upside, I think just holding coin was always economically made more sense.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like I remember buying my first butterfly machine. That was the biggest mistake of my life. I don't know if you remember that company, but I paid them something like 1,000 Bitcoins for a massive order of ASICs that never arrived. And 2 years later, that was like $1 million at the time. It was just like, I don't know what it was. It was not much. It was like 50 grand or something for a huge order or something like that. And then as all the stuff was being delayed, it was like the biggest loss I've actually had in crypto so far, is buying hardware with the wrong company. And then oddly enough, buying company from Avalon, I bought ASICs that came out and they didn't even ship, but I was reselling my pre-order on Bitcoin Talk for 10 times the price that I paid. So like, it's a weird time where like you were losing money, but you were making on the other side. So it's just every kind of balance out, I guess. But it was a really crazy time in the beginning. I kind of miss it, to be honest. It was nothing like it. And right now, there's still a few things that are reminiscent of that time. There's just nothing quite that crazy.
Well, back then, people were actually using Bitcoin as a currency.
Yes. Yeah. I remember being on BTC, and I'll never forget this. There's like talking in a troll box to some people, and I was saying I have, at that time, 6990 video cards, which were really hard to get a hold of for miners. And they were like dual GPU ATI video cards that everybody was like holy grail at the time. And I had like 4 of them. And I was mining 3.5 Bitcoins a day with those things. Right? But now to think about it, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
right? And I was like, this is too slow. I don't want it. Exactly. So I was like, this is too slow. And this was like, and when I first got them, I was getting like 25 BTC a day with those things. And then I sold them where they were doing 3.5 BTC a day. In just one rig with 4 cards. I mean, that's crazy nowadays, right? And then I switched to Litecoin. I think I'll mine like 50,000 LTC with that, just that rig alone. It's just really crazy now too to think about. Anyway, so I sold those on BTC in the chat box, and I remember talking to a guy like, I have these cards, and the guy's like, all right, I'll in the chat, like legit, just like, give me an email. So I give him an email. He emails me his address, then asks me for a Bitcoin address, sends me BTC. Like we've never met. We're never like this is a troll box on the exchange, right? Like you think it's like it's so insane. So he sends me the coins, and I'm like, this is nuts. So obviously I did send him the cards, but I still remember that moment. I was like, who are these people in this community? This is the best community ever, right? Like, that's changed a lot since, by the way. But in the beginning, there were really freaking cool people all around. Like it was actually like the energy where you could feel it everywhere you went, talking about crypto. People who got you, they were awesome. The ICO market kind of tainted all that, I think, in my opinion. Kind of brought a lot of unnecessary get rich quick people that are just kind of came and went. They didn't understand what the heck they were doing here. They just knew there was money around to be made, and then it kind of tainted the whole feel and vibe. And I think now, after coming out of the crypto winter again, we're kind of feeling it again. I feel like it's like we lost a lot of these, I don't know, unnecessary people.
We lost a lot of people for sure. There's no question.
Yeah. But we needed it. We needed it badly. Like that ICO thing was nonsense. I hated it so much as it was happening. Everyone's like, "Isn't that awesome?" I'm like, "No, this is awful. This is just exactly what's going to kill everything we love about what we're doing right now. This is not good. No project should get $1 billion from an idea standpoint and funding.
Or $4 billion.
That's ludicrous. Well, yeah, like it's just like, oh, it's good to have. No shit. Like, yeah, sure, okay, that's the only argument. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's $4 billion for an idea. Anyway, sorry, like, that blew my mind. I knew that's gonna bring down like a hammer on all of us, right? And and then it affected the whole industry, and it's still recovering from that. And I just hope that we, with the good people that stayed or stuck around, we were able to rebuild. But the bar is set high now, right? Because a lot of people are looking at us like, are you guys going to get over to 20,000 again? Because I think that's like the Bitcoin thing. We hit it and then we lost it. And now everyone's like, well, if you come back never again, then you've really recovered. Kind of an interesting measuring stick, but we'll see. I think we'll do it this year, personally. But anyway, it's like a side. That's just my opinion.
I think so.
I think we all agree. I mean, the quarter four is when it's all going to happen. It's all going to shake loose.
I don't know. I feel like quarter three. I feel like end of quarter, like middle of quarter three. I think by the end of summer, things are going to be popping.
I think, I think we're going to start seeing a pickup. I think right now there's so many eyes on after the halving and all this stuff, and so many people came in thinking there's going to be like a quick rise because of the halving. And it's funny because like every time it sort of repeats, but like they say, history never repeats, it rhymes, right? Yeah. So it will go up, but it's never going to be like last time.
Yeah.
Like whatever the previous time you're looking at a chart, it's never going to repeat, because if it did, nobody would make money, because it's like a zero-sum game. Somebody has to lose. It's a finite amount. So if you're smart, like I did this, I'm trying to remember who said this, but it stuck with me. I think it's Warren Buffett, actually. He said, stock market was invented so that patient people could take money from the impatient people. Right. And I think the same thing applies to Bitcoin. Really, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like people who day trade, man, I don't know a single successful day trader long term, not one. They all start out really well, and then within the first 2 months call me saying they started a fund and they want to get a bunch of money going, and they're going to trade you and give you a percentage, and then 3 months later they're gone again, and they're starting over and people are hunting them down. And I'm like, good thing I didn't do that. Like it's like a repeating pattern like throughout the entire years of crypto. And whenever you see like a few bull runs, just all these funds opening up, and you're like, all right, so you saw a few green candles, cool. Like, let's see what happens when you see a few red ones. Then come to me, like, right? But
but they're all making money on Twitter. Well, once they get the following, that's what they're doing. So I think that definitely the interesting thing to me about the halving was that, like, even though no YouTuber I know was making videos saying the day of the halving, the price is going to spike. Like, everybody who's making content on YouTube, like, understands what's coming and how it's not an immediate effect. But yet there were so many people that came into the space at that time. Like, my May views on my videos were out of control. And then it didn't spike. Nobody said it was going to spike. And then they all left. So I don't know what happened. But so Coinpayments, you founded Coinpayments. And Coinpayments is, you guys accept, over 1,900 different cryptocurrencies. And to me, like, Coinpayments really kind of personifies, well, it's not a person, I don't know if that's the right word, but it really, symbolizes adoption, right? Because you're helping people to be able to accept cryptocurrency as payment. So it's for adoption. Now let's talk about your next project, Velas, and how that kind of maybe plays into that same kind of mindset. Like, to me, looking at what you're doing, it's kind of like what you did for Coinpayments. Now you're turning into to a specific crypto project and trying to almost, do the same thing by helping people adopt cryptocurrency. So I want to talk to you, or talk to us about, Velas, the idea for it, where it stands, and why people should be excited about it.
Sure, for sure. I just want to clarify one little thing there. I didn't actually start Coinpayments. So what happened is I bought it 6 months after it was started on Bitcoin Talk, and I was using it. I was a 47th merchant on the system, and I still have that account.
Wow.
And I found on BitcoinTalk.org. I had a coin cable business at the time selling GPU risers, PSU splitters, and PCI Express extenders, and all kinds of stuff for GPU miners. And I wanted to take more than Bitcoin. And at that time, BitPay and BitInstant, I think at that time, was the only processors that were around to facilitate. And I come across them because it took more cryptocurrencies, and then I bought into them, and then ended up buying it. And then all the original founding guys, there's two of them, they're still in the company, and we're all partners. So they became shareholders, and I am the major shareholder now and running the company. So just to clarify that, because it's been said a lot, and I just want to give the credit where it's due, because those guys they're geniuses, and I love them, and we're like family now. So
well, it's interesting, like, Roger Ver, like, for instance, gets credit for like forking Bitcoin into Bitcoin Cash. But he wasn't even the person that actually did it, so like, it's just one of those things, like, when you kind of become the face of something, like, people just assume, I think. And so
no, for sure. I just wanted to say, to give credit where it's due, right? So,
want to be
Mondas and Prodigy. Yeah, those guys are amazing.
That was a live fact check right there.
It was.
Right.
I liked it.
with Velas. So let's pivot to that. So the idea came during an ICO rush. Everybody was just like, Alex, you got to do an ICO. You got to do an ICO. Everybody's doing an ICO. I'm like, why do we need to do one? Couldn't find a reason for it. Everyone's just like, well, this is like, you got to get funded because everybody's getting funding. And if you're legit in the space, like, we need you to get some of this funding because all the scammers are going to get it, and it's just going to be bad for the industry. So I'm like, all right. Didn't really make sense to me. We thought about it. We kind of pivoted back and forth with the legal team. We were based in Canada, moving our company to Cayman Islands at the time for legal reasons, because there's no proper legislation. And in Canada, still really kind of shady the way it's legally there for crypto. So anyway, we decided to move it to Cayman Islands, all our structure, and have operating companies out in Europe, Liechtenstein, Estonia, all that stuff. So we had to restructure everything. Anyway, we're in the middle of all that. I'm like, last thing we need to do is a coin right now, just like a BS ICO project. Then I was like, why don't we actually do something for real if we're going to do it? And the idea started growing. We started talking with the dev teams. We're like, what do we want to do? And so we started by asking our main developers, what are the things that you don't like and like about the coins we support? And since we have the largest support of coins at the time, and at that time, even Binance wasn't a thing, right? So we had like the largest support of coins. And they're like, all right, we don't like, stability of nodes. We don't like, some of the things these coins do and these coins don't. We wish this. So we start making a list and start kind of compiling, like, all right, these are the problems. These are the, these are the pros, and these are the cons. And then we're like, all right, what token form could take, is there any reasonable use case that we could do to issue our own token for the coin and just keep it simple? And then, again, our dev team and legal team came to us and said, like, oh, you can't just do a coin for no reason, and you shouldn't. We're like, all right, sounds good. And then we realized that some of the exchanges were launching their coins, right, for to give benefits to users, discounts, and things like that. And we're like, all right, air mile system. Like, we all know how that works. Okay, that sounds good, because one of the issues, we're like, all right, well, this is what we can solve with this. We can solve the adoption issue where people, when they pay with a credit card, they get benefits, added benefits like, air miles or discounts or whatever, and points, and they can spend on things. And that's a lot of reasons why people use credit cards sometimes over cash in their pocket, because they're like, well, there's an extra thing I'm going to get. So they incentivize them. So we're like, well, crypto needs something like that. So, okay, so we're a payment processor. Why don't we do a CPS coin? And then we start working with a Sys company, Sys coin. A friend of mine, Jag, is a CTO there. He used to be in the DevCoin project back in the day when we first met. And actually, we've known each other for many, many years. So I was like, hey man, like, we possibly want to do a discount or a merchant token for a coin. And at that time, we're like, maybe we'll do an ICO, maybe not. And then we scrapped that idea and just issued it to our loyal customers as a reward token, right? And we're still like, we couldn't find a way to justify to me why we needed to raise money for it. I was just like, I don't want to, it's weird to me just getting like, raising 30 million when you're like, what do I need it for? Like, I think it's weird. Like, it's still investors' money. Like, so my mind just can't process like what on earth am I going to tell these people, and why am I doing it, right? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So especially our business is positive, right? Like, we're making money every month too. So it's not like we really desperately need it. I mean, you could always do something good with it, but this is like a separate project altogether. So anyway, so we did a CPS coin. Then idea was, this is actually leads to Velas, because that's how essentially Velas came to be. CPS coin was issued to customers. People start using it, trading back and forth. It was like a lock on our platform value. And we noticed that people are using it for discounts. People are using it to buy, pay for our services and everything like that. And we were like, all right, we want to add a marketplace now. We wanted to create a decentralized marketplace where this token could be used to buy and sell goods and services, so we can offer our merchants Coinpayments as the place where they can buy and sell or trade their goods. And Syscoin Foundation is Block Foundry. They were going to build it for us on Sys, and then something happened legally with the way that they're structured and how they were looking at the assets on their system. And they basically got rid of every single thing we were going to use their chain for, like the marketplace, aliases, and proof of stake rewards for the asset class, because there's some sort of regulatory issues saying that this is like dividends or whatever. And they didn't want to be caught on the wrong side of it. So we're like, all right, so now we have a token. Everything we wanted to do with it has been taken away, right? And we, at the same time, the whole idea of what we brainstormed a year before that, talking about creating our coin and kind of made it pros and cons. I looked at it again. I'm like, we have an idea of your coin, which surprisingly no one's done yet. So why don't I separate with a different team and build a prototype of that? And if that works, and if we can do that, we'll make that coin, and then we'll let everybody who is stuck in this project swap over to it, and then we have a community overnight, right? And that's basically what Velas has become. Velas would have been a separate project that's on my time with a different team, we would have been building just for like a fun of it, right? Because it's sort of like a fun project, an experiment. It's something that I was really passionate about. Like, I wanted to combine AI with blockchain for the reasons that we had a pros and cons and realized, like, well, how do you solve this triangle between decentralization, usability, scalability, you know, and like without compromising each element? Or like, well, it has to be something that can make adjustments real time, right? People are too slow, and there's got to be something that optimizes communication between all the nodes and optimizes where the nodes are. These decisions have to be. I can't think of how to do it without AI, the way we saw it. And we were like, all right, but AI is a black box. How can you trust AI too, right? So this is like you're creating a new problem. So it's like you're taking a triangle and you're making it, adding another angle to it, making it a square. Now it's like 4 problems you try to solve. Like, how do you trust AI? So we're like, all right, start playing with that. And then we kind of started liking the solutions the team was coming up with. And we're like, all right, this could actually work. And that took time. We started developing it. When we realized it's going to work, we announced Velas. And, now we're in mainnet. We swapped our users from CPS coin. That's how we got, users right away that were already Coinpayments loyal customers. And then Syscoin at the time did an airdrop to their aliases through their own foundation, through the Block Foundry airdrop to their aliases. So we got a bunch of users from the Syscoin as well, and they kind of built a bit of a community. And then now, we're in stage 2 of our development. So we did pre-alpha, now we're in alpha. So now the network is running. We're already learning from the data sets and training the AI model. We actually have an update on the AI specifically coming out next Wednesday. So our team that joined us is Z-Union. Z-Union. I guess American, Canadian, the way we pronounce Z is different. But
Yeah, right.
Z-Union, I just kind of caught that. I'm like, yeah, I guess it's both right. Z-Union has joined our team, and they're awesome. They're lead AI researchers and advisors to the Russian Federation for artificial intelligence. So they're quite top level guys from that part of the world. We also have some guys from San Francisco. Some of the ex-Bitfury employees as well join our team. So like we have a pretty cool team now working specifically on the AI, and we have a team that specifically works on the blockchain. We're working together. Not at liberty to name them yet because we're still finalizing the contract, but these guys have worked, helped with Parity, Ethereum, right? And then they worked a little bit on the Open Ethereum and PostDAO project and things like that. So they're really familiar with the pieces that we need, because what we did with Velas is at the beginning, we did the hard thing, and we decided to do everything ourselves. And we did about a year of that work, and realized by talking to people in the community and some of the experts that we asked to look at our project, and they're like, "Why are you doing another EOS?" Basically, right? That was kind of what they say. And we're like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Well, why are you writing on your own standards, your own language? Why are you creating new smart contracts?" Like people are getting tired of this. Like, there is established formats that are working just fine. If you want to improve them, that will actually help everybody. And it was like a pretty compelling argument. We're like, yeah, you're right. Because like, they have $4 billion to convince everybody to use their platform. And it's awesome. Like, there's nothing, I love EOS, there's no problem. But like, it is hard transition period for somebody who is professional in Solidity, knows how to make, all the dApps and comfortable with the Solidity for many years. And it's becoming really cheap to write anything in it, right? Because people are more educated in it. Just switch to standard. It is an annoyance element, and I think even they realized it, and they created compatibility for Solidity over time. And they, I think they even have grants right now for optimizing their VM and all that stuff. So we realized, okay, so how do we do this correctly? And then we kind of had to start over in September last year, and we went with with an Open Ethereum version, and then just added VM smart contract consensus, which allows us to optimize every parameter of the blockchain live, and that gives AI the tools. And through the voting mechanism, we took a delegated proof of stake model based on reputation, right? And we added that in there as well as part of the experiment. So essentially, anybody transitioning from Ethereum platform would have no problem coming into a world, but they will be coming into a very different world nevertheless, right? Where if our experiments prove correct, which I think they will over time, will demonstrate that this is a better way to do it, right? And then there's no real reason to invent the vehicle, right? You still need the four wheels. It can be electric or it could be gasoline, right? Sure. So that's kind of the same logic we apply. Like, let's take the platform that everybody already knows and trusts, and let's not mess with that part. It's done well. Let's demonstrate the pieces that make sense to us, and enhance it and take it further for a while. And if it works, and when it works, I think a lot of people will take those pieces and start implementing it to their version of Ethereum, and that will be the success story that we're looking for, right, when it all comes to fruition.
Yeah, I think that is really fantastic. I know this is a project that I'm certainly excited about. I think that your experience with Coinpayments and the team that you've built with Velas, and I think it's a sneaky good pick right now. And I know there's been some issues with CoinMarketCap that have kind of kept you guys out of the top 100, where your market cap itself should actually, you guys should be there. I know some of those issues are getting straightened out. So I think once it gets past that CMC criteria and it does shoot up to the top 100, I think people are going to start really paying attention to it. And for those people that are getting in early before that happens, I think they're definitely going to be rewarded. So tell everybody where, if they want to get involved in Velas, the best way to do that in the community, and then tell everybody where they can find you.
So the best way to get involved is to join our Telegram channel. It's the most active place where we communicate right now. We're redesigning the website right now, velas.com. Obviously, it's our main resource. I'm not super crazy about the site right now. Personally, I think it needs to be updated, but we were focusing so much on the blockchain and the team development that I know that that's lacking. And it's actually, to CMC argument, is I actually kind of happy that we didn't get the rank yet, because I could tell the team, like, this is actually a blessing in disguise, because there's a few things that I feel like we need to clean up still. From the point of view of how we present our project, right? Because I feel like there's been so many changes over the years, so many pivots that we've done, that we haven't really showcased what we really do right now, and this gives us the opportunity to do that. So in some ways, I'm actually kind of happy that happened. Not that I really understand personally why it's happening, but sometimes things happen and you find the positive in it, right?
Right.
So anyway, so we updated the site. So velas.com is a good place to go to learn about the project, and then, like I said, the best is Telegram channel, and also Twitter. On Twitter, we post all of our updates, and then you can follow me personally too. It's just Twitter handle @VelasFounder, super easy. Our marketing team created that for me. I didn't pick that, but I kind of grew on me. It grew on me. They kind of finally convinced me to use the Twitter. I've been avoiding it since the invention of it, and I just finally sort of come to it.
What do you think of the mentality of everybody on crypto Twitter?
So it's like hot or cold. Like they're either it's just no in between. There's no like normal people, I'd say, on Twitter. They're like either super kind and nice, or they're like super in your face. You're an idiot. Like, I mean, you're like, dude, calm down. Like I just commented on this thing. Like, why you go straight to insults? It's just a weird thing. I'm not big a social media guy. Like I don't have Facebook and any other stuff. And then so like there's a bit of a shocking experience for me still. I'm like getting used to it.
Well, I've taken a break from crypto Twitter and I've really enjoyed it. It's been a nice break. On crypto Twitter, it's either, if they hold your bag, then it's Moon. If they don't hold your bag, your project is a scam. I mean, that's everybody is on there. So
Scammer Moon. That's it.
Scammer Moon.
Yeah.
Yep. So Alex,
sure.
thank you so much for joining us today, talking a little bit about your history in Bitcoin and also about Velas. And you guys got all the links. We'll put some links in the description as well, so if people want to click on that. And thank you very much for joining us, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
See you, man.
Bye, guys.
All right. Well, once again, thank you to Velas for supporting the podcast. It was definitely a very interesting interview. Hope you guys got a lot out of it. But let's move on to the most American thing we can do, manspreading. Manspreading.
Speaking of the most American thing, we are approaching one of the most American holidays. And this is probably the culmination of the summer, right? You get grilling, amazing sides, picnics, but one of the most important things is fireworks.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the Twitter poll this week will be, do you light your own fireworks or do you go somewhere and watch fireworks? I think that's a fundamental question to ask, when it comes to determining your manliness.
We're basically asking you, are you a man or no?
That's what we're asking, like, are you a man? So we definitely light our own fireworks. This year, we're actually doing something a little bit different. When you guys are actually listening to this episode, I'm going to be on my way to South Dakota. I'm going to Mount Rushmore for the 4th of July. It's actually kind of a funny story to watch the fireworks with my family. Now, after we decided to go, apparently Donald Trump, is going to be there and going to speak. I knew he was going to be there, but I thought he was just there watching the fireworks. But interestingly enough, I think I'm going to miss the whole thing.
Like, you're not going to go, or?
Oh no, I'm going to go on the trip.
I heard that. Okay. But
what did you hear?
Go to Mount Rushmore. No, I had heard that that there was a Indian tribe chief leader or something like that.
Native American, that is. You just got our whole podcast canceled.
No. Yeah, Native American.
Thank you, Justin. You guys cancel him, not me.
So
I'm just kidding. Our crypto people would
culture.
never cancel us.
Sorry. So a Native American chief or the leader of a group has said that they will vehemently protest his arrival because it was stolen land in the first place.
Well, here's the funny thing about all that, which is there will be no protests at the 4th of July celebration. And this is why. And this ties into the funny story. I did not realize when we booked this trip to go out there that like you had to have tickets specifically for the fireworks celebration. So I had no idea. I just thought we were going out, like, it's in the middle of a pandemic. I thought there would be like hardly anybody there, and it's a big national park. I thought it'd be like no big deal. We just go show up. But my wife yesterday was like, do you have to have tickets for this? I was like, no, honey, and I'll look it up, and like, sure enough. Yeah. So we're going out there. We're having to totally recalibrate things. We're not actually going to get to be there at Mount Rushmore for the fireworks. Hopefully we'll still be able to see them from wherever we're at that night. But we're going to
be there a few days ahead of time.
Well, no, we were planning on getting there on the 2nd in Denver, and then we're driving through Wyoming and up to South Dakota the next day. But we were just planning on getting there about the time the event started. So it changes things a little bit. Unless I can find someone who's going to resell those tickets, but I can't. I thought maybe I could find someone on StubHub or eBay. No,
Craigslist.
120,000 people applied for a lottery to get the tickets. 7,500 people won. So that's why there may be protests outside, but there will be no protests at the fireworks because you have to have a ticket to get in. And let me tell you, it is the hottest ticket around. I've not been able to find anyone who's trying to make a buck to sell those tickets. And that's really discouraging because I like to overpay for things.
I'm sure once you get a little bit closer, people's plans change, something will come up, yada, yada, yada. I would just check like Craigslist or
Been
like
checking.
you said, just keep doing it. Just wait till it gets a little bit closer.
Yeah,
You'll
well, there
find
hasn't
something.
been one listing. There was one listing for tickets, but it was a scam. So, and I knew it was a scam. So, I don't know. There hasn't been anybody offering tickets for this on Craigslist, period. So, it makes me think that maybe they're tied to your name, that you have, like, if you won the lottery, like, you have to actually, like, you can have other people in the car with you. You can have up to 6 people, but you actually have to have
The winner must be present. No transfer.
non-transferable. Yeah, it says the tickets are non-transferable, but of course, so does tickets to any event. They always say that, but so we'll have to see. It's going to be an interesting trip. So we've kind of had to change up what we're doing a little bit, but I'm still holding out hope that I'll be able to get some tickets at the last minute, like we're talking about on resale. I'm willing to get scammed to try. So
that's never fun. Yeah, we've got some fun plans for the 4th of July as well. I'm actually in the Chicago area right now, and then my whole family. It's my brother's 30th birthday coming up, so his dirty 30. So my entire family, all the nieces and nephews, we're all up at a lake house for all next week as well. So
we had your brother on the podcast.
Yes, the lawyer. Yes,
yeah, I remember
he was on the podcast.
It was when we had the Minds interview. I think he was on also. I think.
Yes, that's correct.
That memory.
So if you need a lawyer, crypto or not, he's your guy.
There you go. Well, all right, guys. Well, that is all we got for today. We want to know in the Twitter poll: do you light your own fireworks or do you go somewhere? Sometimes I do either one. Try to always at least light a firework every year somewhere around there. Somewhere along the way. Yeah. But that's it, guys.
So what about, when you were younger, did you ever do those little things on the driveway, the snakes?
Sparklers? Oh, the snakes. I forgot all about the snakes. I know the sparklers. I ain't never touching a sparkler. It's called a sparkler. Okay.
Yeah.
If a sparkler is not the most woman term I've ever heard for a firework, I don't know what it is. Okay. They might as well call them glitterers. Okay. I ain't touching that.
Glitterers.
I ain't holding one of
that's
things.
For the girls.
That's for the girls. So, all right, guys. Well, that's all we got for today. Really look forward to seeing you guys next week. We got a lot of big interviews coming up, so you guys pay attention for that. Thank you to Velas Token.
We out.
Thank you for listening to the Beards and Bitcoins Crypto Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you are subscribed on your favorite podcast platform and help us spread the word by sharing your favorite Beards and Bitcoins podcast episodes on your social media. Also, make sure to follow us on Twitter @BeardsBitcoins to participate in the weekly poll, chat, and share fire memes. Oh, and don't forget to visit our website, beardsandbitcoins.com, for more episodes, information, and merch today. See you next time!